welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a comparison video amongst these two nudes palette that I purchased from my local drugstore. This one is the Maybelline The Nudes. This has been out for a few years already, and I'm pretty sure this has been sitting in my drawer for a few years as well. And this one right here is the Covergirl TruNaked Nudes that I believe I purchased last year. Both of these were sitting in my drawer, and I thought, you know, what a great idea to film a comparison video because they're both nudes palette and they can be very similar and of course different in their own way. This Maybelline one, I believe I purchased this for about $15 Canadian at my local drugstore, give and take depending on where you purchase it from. This is about, I would say $10.99. I think it was on sale at the time. Give and take, of course, a few dollars as well, depending upon where you purchase it from. So I'm going to start off with this Maybelline's Nudes palette. So it offers 12 shades, and I believe there's only about 3 to 4 shimmers in this palette. This is how it looks like on the inside. I kind of wish that there was a little bit of a mirror here because there's a little bit of space. But of course they don't, but that's okay, that's okay. It comes with an applicator, so for some of you guys who enjoy using applicators, like a doe foot applicator for both, then this is great. Personally, myself, I just like to use brushes, so I rather not use this because I find it slightly unsanitary because you will always have to constantly change it. After using it, you know, maybe a few times or something like that. And plus, because there's 12 shades and there's only 2 ends to this applicator, so meaning you would have to rub off whatever the shade you were using and then, you know, go back into applying it on different colors. With that being said, I remember my first impression of this was it was quite chalky. The lighter shades don't show up as well as the darker shades, and even the darker matte ones aren't as pigmented as I expect it to be. Anyways, I'm going to swatch it on my arm right here so that you guys can see it pretty much how it would show up on my skin. I'm going to try to not dig in too much because then that's trying to help it out. But I believe when I used it before, I tend to like to use a setting spray onto my brush before I dip it into any of these shades, or I wouldn't say all, but most of these shades, so that I can get it to become a little bit more pigmented. So I have swatched all these colors onto my arm right here, starting with the first 4 shades right here. I have it on the top. As you guys can tell, the most pigmented of the 4 right here are actually this one, the second one, which is this shade right here, which I was quite surprised because this is not one that I gravitate towards when I was using this palette. This shade right here was quite chalky. You can probably tell with the swatch I have here. This one I actually went in twice in order to get the pigmentation. So as you can tell, it is quite buildable. And then of course I'm moving along to the next 4 shades right here. I find the most pigmented one is this one. I only had to do 1 swatch and it gave me that type of pigmentation, and it's quite soft. I feel like this shade of them all seems to be like a different formula to get that type of pigmentation. I'm not quite sure why. And then the last 4 shades right here are the least pigmented one, and I believe it's because it's more so of a matte shade. So my thoughts on this is that I love how each quad pretty much has its own theme. The first one is more so of like a natural look. I can see myself using this more of like, you know, an everyday, you know, not so glammed up. The next quad right here is more like a goldeny brown, bronzy type of look. This is actually one that I use the most, I would say, when I use this palette and when it wasn't just sitting in my drawer. And the last one here is more so of like a cool tone. I have mixed these two to like fill in my eyebrows before, so that's always good because if this can be pretty travel friendly because it has a doe foot applicator and everything, and at the same time I don't have to carry like a brow product just to fill in my eyebrows because they have shades where I can mix to get the shade for my eyebrows. So I quite like this palette for that purpose, and because it offers 12 different shades, you can actually change up quite a few different looks from, you know, natural to everyday to, you know, bronzy, glowy, you know, summer type of look to, you know, more so like a cool tone. So people pretty much with like different types of, I guess, skin tones, from like cool tones to warm tones, this palette actually would work really well for you because of the fact that it has different tones for different skin types. So that's my thought on this one. Now comparing it to the Covergirl's TruNaked Nudes, this has 8 shades and there is 4 shimmers and 4 nudes. This is actually what I use to create this eye look that you see here. I really like it because of the fact that it's more of like your nude, literally. You can use the lighter shades for a more of a natural look, and of course if you want to glam it up a little bit or like smoke it out like I did, you would use the darker shades at the end. And once again, the last shade where I mix this one and this third last shade right here, I can mix those to also fill in my eyebrows, which I've done before, just not today. Today was just an eyebrow pencil that I had. And of course, I can also swatch them on my arm right here to show you guys how it looks like on my skin. So I have swatched all these shades onto my arm right here. As you can tell, the first maybe 2 to 3 shades, it's actually a bit more chalky. Yes, I can say it's a bit more chalky, but it is more smooth type of chalky. It does have fallout, so for those ones, I either go really light-handed onto my eyes. I do have on my brow bone right here, it's actually the champagne shade that's in here, which is one of my favorite ones in this palette. And then of course, moving right along to the other ones, they're quite pigmented. It goes in the same particular order. I just find for the ones that are more chalky and less pigmented, the easiest way is actually to spray your brush with setting spray before dipping it into any of these eyeshadows if you want that pigmentation. It did help with these ones, I would say. And of course, using a primer is super important with both of these palettes, not just this Maybelline one. Maybelline one, this one I think is like a must because of the fact that the pigmentation is not quite there for some of the shades in this palette, and of course because it is slightly more chalky, with a primer it would definitely help holding the shadow onto your eyes and for it to last a little bit longer. That of course goes the same with this Covergirl one as well. For me, I tend to gravitate towards this Covergirl one just because of the fact that I like the more natural nude to, you know, smoky eye type of look. I don't need too much of like, you know, different eye looks throughout the day or when I travel, so I tend to throw this into my makeup bag more so than this, even though in terms of size-wise, the Maybelline one is only slightly bigger because it offers 4 other shades, but each shade I'm pretty sure the amount of product is pretty much the same, just this one's longer and this one's a little bit more chubbier because it's more so of a square shape in terms of the product. And of course, with that being said, the price point difference isn't huge. You get 4 extra shades in this one for literally just like $4 or $5 more, depending on, of course, if you hit a deal or not at your local drugstore, versus the Covergirl one. I just find this one, I don't always have to use a setting spray for the pigmentation of these shades in comparison to the Maybelline one. But I swatched it, I don't have any primer on my hands, so with that being said, I'm sure with primer it would work a lot better. Anyhow, those are, you know, my thoughts on both of these and of course how I compared it. I hope it helped you guys decide which one you want to purchase at your local drugstore or of course online, such as on Amazon. I'm sure these are offered there. If I find the links to purchase these, I'll put it in the description box down below so you guys can go and check that out. Anyhow, that's all for me for today. I hope you guys are subscribed to this channel, and if you are, make sure you turn on that little bell for notification. I do try to upload 1 to 2 new videos each week, and I shall see you guys in my next one. Bye bye for now. much.